How's it going, everybody? I'm sorry this video is coming super late. In this video, we're going to be talking about our Ultimate 16 defense that I'm going to be going with for the start of Ultimate 16, which starts today in 4 hours. Before we jump into that, though, there have been some Intel updates I've been meaning to talk about, so we'll briefly go over those. And this all came about because of Cosmic Crucible. So it looks like we're going to be getting around 4,000 or so, if you break this down, Intel in a regular Crucible week, if you clear all 6 rooms, all 5 enemies from those rooms. And that's going to be adding on in an additional like 20. Let's go a little bit more realistic. Let's just go to like gold 3. Add that on to about 19.9. So we're getting like 24,000 intel a week from Crucible, and that feels really, really low for people. And I'm with you on that. That does feel really super low. The seasonal stuff from Crucible, we don't know what this is going to be. This is for the Ultimate 16 season. So 16,000, but the Ultimate 16 season is literally 1 week, right? The season 15 of Cosmic Crucible is going to be 6 weeks. So we don't know if there's going to continue to be like a low number like this, or if they'll times this by 5, which could be really interesting, or if they'll go around the route they went with raids. So for raids, we don't really like the seasonal stuff from raids. I'm sorry, LD players sort of lagging out. We don't really like the seasonal stuff we get from raids. We get 7,650, I believe, from these milestones. That's once every 2 weeks. So, you know, divide that in half for a weekly payout. And then the seasonal stuff, again, you divide this by 2 because that'll give us sort of a better idea on our weekly payout. And that's 20,000 if you're rank 1. Now, one thing that I thought they did really, really good with the Chaos raids is they finally made a raid map where if I want to compete for top 10, if I want to compete for rank 1, me and my alliance have to be coordinated enough to get all these mini boss nodes done. If you don't, you're just not going to be that high. You're just not going to be that high whatsoever, right? So they gave the incentive for people to push this super duper hard, and then they took it away by not really making the ranked leaderboard matter at all. I'm still being just like foolishly optimistic, and I'm just wrong at this point. This should just be gear tier 20 orbs, right? This should be 20,000 armory 20 orbs. That'll give you 10 orbs if you're rank 1, which will translate to 40 gear tier 20 pieces, which is not even enough pieces to put one gear piece on one character if they all were the exact same origin trait. So it's like, what's the big deal there, right? If we go up to Blitz, the 3 blitzes a week are getting us just shy of 10k. I didn't go over it, but the raid nodes, if you're doing 8 hits or 10 hits in the Chaotic Storm and you're doing 8 hits on Spotlight, which not everyone can do because the nodes are limited, you're kind of walking away with about 10,000 per day there as well. We're not getting anything from War or Arena yet. That is still to come. And the reason why this was very concerning for me is because we do have this Quasar objective where weekly we do have to spend the 300,000. Now I'm gonna get it done. I'm no longer worried about this, which is why I'm making a much more toned down video than my first one was, right? There were rumors that you need to be saving portions of this, which you could easily have earned in the first week of this monthly command center event, if you will. You needed to save portions of this to make sure you hit the 300k. I thought there's no way they would lean into that. That is stupid. That would make no sense. We then got the Hit Monkey Command Center thing, which there are 100,000 of these intels up for grabs, right? So out of the 300,000 you need per week, you start with the baseline. This event starts the same time that this weekly objective starts, so you're guaranteed to get it for this 100,000. Through the different sources we were talking about in the earlier part of this video, you're looking at it, again, around 100,000, depending where you're playing, and depending how many raid nodes you get in. Then we got things like Twitch drops giving you 20,000. We just had a promo code that gave us 20,000, right? There was other things that were giving us a little bit of intel, and then they dropped this on us right here, the X-Raid Multiversal Siege. Without this, oh, sorry, there's still the Strike Pass stuff too. There's 100,000 in each of the Strike Pass and Battle Pass, but once again, those are bi-weekly, so you would divide what they give in half, right? So if they give 100,000 each, you would count on getting 50,000 from each of them for a week, which is, we need the 300,000 for this week. But it's hard to count on that because we're not getting them at the sort of intervals that would make sense. Plus, certain people could buy premium passes and they would rush through that. And the whole idea is like, hey, if I have intel and I see something I want in the store, there is no explanation that makes sense for why I wouldn't buy it immediately. then this event came in. Now, I think that this event was always planned, but it was never communicated. This was super, super frustrating for a lot of people, myself included, because like, okay, now do I actually have to hoard intel to complete this weekly objective? The answer is no. Scopely needs to communicate this better. So from this global event, it looks like we are going to be getting, again, another 100,000 intel. This is going to be giving us, if you are like a diamond or masters player in Crucible, this gives you a really, really, really big cushion. And if you are gold, you're still getting a really good cushion. You're just, I think you're off like, I don't know, like 4,000 cushion points, something like that. But my point is that it's going to be easy to get to 300,000 to make sure we're hitting those Quasar milestones every single week, as long as they keep doing this. We have one event that gives us 100,000. That would be the current Hit Monkey. And then we have another Flash event. We had one last week as well, by the way, the Crucible. I think that gave us 100,000 as well. So if Scopely wants people to be more relaxed about this, they need to come out and say, guys, like, we plan on giving you at least 300,000 during that week, every single week. And I think that would go a really long way. But let's also talk about just like the intel economy, okay? So that's just for the command center event that I know is causing a lot of people stress. Let's talk about the intel economy in and of itself, because I know there's a lot of people that are like, this is not nearly enough. And I would 100% agree that whenever I look at the Crucible drop, the Crucible numbers, or I look at what we're getting from Blitz, or I look at what we're getting from raids, it doesn't feel good. It's a really slow drip, kind of like these pity orbs were, which a lot of us kind of ended up warming up to. I'm not sure that's going to be the case for this stuff. Here's why. Let me go ahead and pull up a little calculator, and I'll show you the math that I do that kind of makes me question things. So, in my mind, for this store to be uber successful, I want to be excited every single store refresh. Not that I have to buy every single thing in the store, every single store refresh, but that Gear Tier 20 is the only thing a player like myself wants. I would like it to be the case that every single time, every single 8 hours that a store refreshes, I come in here with the expectation like, oh, if something is in here that I want, I will have the ability to buy it. That is to say, I think we should be getting about 120,000 intel per day, because it costs 40,000. If this store resets 3 times, that'd be 120,000. I don't think we should be able to buy both Gear Tier 20s every single time. I don't think if I see 2 of them in the first store reset that I want, I buy both of those, I should be able to buy it in the next store reset. No, like I did 2 buys already, right? That's what I think the spirit of the Intel store is supposed to be about. Everything else in here doesn't really make sense for most players like myself to buy, but for others, I hear about like 50% of the economy is actually going into these character shards, which I would strongly recommend against for any player that is between the levels of 100 and 105. Just be buying that Gear Tier 20 stuff. That's going to get Professor X faster. If you're not doing that, and then you're bitching about Professor X taking you a year to get, you're your own worst enemy. I cannot help you. Stop saying people are whales because they are prioritizing this stuff, and you're farming characters that are eventually going to become easy to obtain because they're going to be in either that new supply store, or they're going to be given to us through various different events, or whatever the hell else they're going to be in, right? I can't help that. You're not using resources properly. Okay, sorry. I've been getting attacked a lot lately when I don't spend nearly as much money on this game as I used to. This game is actually more free-to-play friendly than it has been in the past, believe it or not. Let's get to the math here. So, by my logic, if I was to say, like, this is the expectation I think most of the players have. I want to be able to buy one thing from this store every single store refresh. So that gives us our 40,000 needed to buy a Gear Tier 20 piece, times 3, that's the amount of resets, times 7, that's the amount of days in a week. I know, really hard math. That would mean, like, for me to be super content with this store, I would need to be getting 840,000 intel weekly to do what I said I think would be fun. They're never going to do that, okay? They're just not. And let me just put this into more perspective, because this is not even a big ask, I don't think. If you were buying one Gear Tier 20 piece every single store, we're getting 5 pieces, right? We times that by 3. We times that by 7. We divide that by 50. What did I just do? I just did the amount of Gear Tier 20 pieces we would get over a week divided by 50, which is the amount of Gear Tier 20 pieces you need to equip, wait for it, 1 piece of Gear Tier 20 gear. That would mean every week, under the metrics that I said, you would be able to equip 2 pieces of gear, 2 pieces of Gear Tier 20 gear a week. If we look at this in a different way, we need 25 characters for Professor X. On average, those 25 players need 3 pieces of gear. We divide that by the 2 we would get per week, it would still take us 37.5 weeks for the totality of the Professor X stuff, right? Now, obviously, leaderboards, the Armory 20 orb you get, they would bring down that 37.5 weeks a lot because Intel is not the only source of our Gear Tier 20 economy. But I would invite you guys to look, and hopefully it's still there. It is still there. Just to put in perspective, some people are like, oh, but the leaderboards would make that happen too quickly. I'm with you guys. Like, I understand it's supposed to be a chase. Look at this monumental drop-off. So here, these guys are still able to equip 4 pieces. Okay, now it's 3 pieces. Now it's 1 piece. Still 1 piece, still 1 piece, still 1 piece. We get down to the top 1 to 10%. They're getting 10 Gear Tier 20 pieces. They're getting 20% of being able to equip 1 Gear Tier 20 piece every leaderboard that only happens every 2 weeks. They also have these whale events, the Gear 20 Burst, and yes, I did buy it. This might be the reason I am able to get Professor X 700 stars for the end of the Race to X event. This costs $60 American, right? So this is not a real story. You get 0 if you don't buy anything. I'm actually fine with these burst events because it's clearly for purchase only. I think this is actually more transparent than when we get an event like this, where it's like, oh, can me and my alliance complete this? No, you cannot without buying. You literally can't. It doesn't exist. Your entire alliance can have 7 Red Star Vigilante. You're not getting it done, okay? So that's where I'm at with the Intel store. I just wanted to do, I guess, this a little bit of a rant, because I'm getting a lot of questions about it. I think it's good that we are at least getting this done, the 300,000. I think 300,000 is too low a number. I understand they'll never go for my 800,000 number. So I think a good medium would be, okay, if you don't want me to be buying 1 Gear Tier 20 thing every single store reset, I should be able to buy 1.5 every single store reset. So that would be 60,000 a day. We times that by 7. I think we should be getting around 420,000 daily or weekly. This might be where we end up. I think this is actually where we end up once we get the war and arena stuff put in, if they continue to run 2 different events that give us 100,000. I think that it is actually possible, because raids get you about 80,000 once you're at the end game. You're doing the end game raids. That alone weekly gets you about 80,000. So that would almost immediately puts you at 300,000, right? So once war and arena is in, we could be close to that 420,000 number. I'm not sure if that number is enough for people to like celebrate the store and really, really enjoy it, which I think is a shame, because they could do a lot with the store. They really could. If they were to drop this price down a little bit, people would be like, oh, I kind of want to buy that every single time, right? Like if this cost 5,000 Intel instead of 21,000, does 60 L4s break the economy? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure, right? This would actually entice people to spend some of that 400 or 600,000 Intel there instead. If the Liberty characters were half the price, maybe I would do that, right? Like maybe I would want to get Patriot his last 100 or Falcon his last 150. If this costs 5,000 instead of 12, like there's no reason the 3rd string team should cost the same as the 1st string team. Like Vigilante and the Liberty team having the same cost makes no sense. And that would then tax me from the Gear to 20 economy. Now, some people will be like, no, I'll never do that. I'm only ever going to farm Gear to 20. And that's the decision. That's the trade-off, right? But I think that would build more fun for this whole Intel situation we got going on. I know there's a lot of conversation about this. And here's the thing that I know just from a business standpoint. I've been taught recently, I should say. It's easier for them to dial up the Intel or to dial down the prices than it is to be the reverse. So my guess, my hope, I guess, is that this is like the baseline, not super attractive numbers, and then they can start dialing it up, because they wanted to err on the side of caution. And once they're like, okay, people aren't enjoying this, it's adding more stress, whatever the case may be, hopefully they then dial it up, right? Also, and I think a lot of this stems from just the raid seasonal stuff. I think the raid seasonal stuff is kind of the biggest, I don't say slap in the face, it's the biggest ball drop. You finally have a raid map where trying to fight for this is a real thing, instead of just everybody 100% raids every single time you save enough tickets so you can double dip 1 week. It's just, you finally made a raid map where this can make sense to try and fight for this. Don't waste it. If you don't want to give 40 pieces away every 2 weeks here, like if you don't want to make this armory 20 orb fragments at 20,000, make it at 10,000. 5 orbs, 20 gear to 20 pieces, people would still fight over that. I remember for the Mephisto, the raid seasonal stuff, it meant a lot more than it does now. And it's a shame. They finally made a raid map where I want to do these mini boss nodes, not only because there's a little bit of intel on the nodes itself, but it helps push our alliance up in the leaderboards. It just give me a carrot to chase on leaderboards, I guess I'm saying. Anyway, this is supposed to be an Ultimate 16 video, so now that I've ranted for 15 minutes, let's quickly go over Ultimate 16, since that tournament is going to be starting soon. This is my defense. It's nothing special. I have an Odin Illuminati Black Knight team that probably gets absolutely dumpstered by people's Starjammers if they have them at 5 or 6 stars. I don't think there's a way for me to avoid that except for going super duper turtle. Spider Society still feels like they may actually be the best team with all the raid buffs. I'm taking Pav out because Pav is a direct answer to an enemy Spider Society. And also because Black Cat would stop an enemy Pav from stopping my Spider Society. So it's kind of like a meta on a meta play. The chances that Vigilante comes in here and just instantly beats this, especially if they have really high stars, is pretty high, I think. I think Vigilante could come in here and just wax this, but I don't think Vigilante does shit on defense. I think if you put Vigilante on defense, I can hit it with like Uncanny Avengers. It feels like besides Spider Society, the newer raid teams, Night Stalker, Orcus, Uncanny Avengers, Vigilante, Thunderbolts aren't really a thing right now. It feels like they're kind of a rock, paper, scissors. So by putting Spider Society on defense, I'm keeping rock, paper, scissors, and I get to cheat on that shoot. So if someone puts Vigilante, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit with Uncanny Avengers. Daredevil doesn't get to taunt. I get to go first with Storm. I get to stun your Silver Sable. Jean Grey will winds the shit out of you, and then you die, right? So, and my team has 3 diamonds because the Uncanny Avengers team, they've been farmable for quite a while now. So I get to cheat on that rock, paper, scissors by putting Spider Society here. Some people are going to put Starjammers here. Or they're going to completely ignore the raid room part of it, and they're going to put some sort of like maybe a Mephisto team, an Odin team, a Professor X team. They're just going to ignore the raid room, and they're going to try and make a team that counters that. And I think that'll actually be pretty hard without doing Starjammers, or without doing like a Professor X. And so my Starjammers would be a direct answer to somebody else's Starjammers, and we just go from there. My stage 1, I have no idea if this is going to work. This all kind of hinges on this guy right here, this big purple guy, Thanos. The whole thing here is that when they do their attack, if they have vulnerables, they gain 100% damage per vulnerable. The idea here is Thanos' passive. I don't know if Thanos' passive is actually affected by this room rule because of this sentence right here when attacking. But I'm going to try it for now. You're welcome to try it with me. And the rest of this team is basically just to boost up the Thanos and to kind of short out some of those counters. So I have a Null, which would counter an enemy Mephisto. It would counter an enemy Red Hulk Apocalypse. I have Emma, because that would counter an enemy Immortal team from coming in here and ruining it. And that's about it, right? And then I have a pre-taunt to stop everything else. And this guy just beefs up their damage. It's nothing special I'm doing right here. I'm being very, very cautious by having so many tools on offense. So what do I have on offense? I have Immortal X-Men, which can also be Uncanny. I have those raid teams we talked about. I don't have Cabal, but I have Apocalypse. I have Mephisto. I have Starjammers. I have Superior 6 if I need them. I'm doing a really bad job of telling you what I have because I have a lot of other stuff. Obviously, whatever raid team I don't use in stage 2 will work really, really good elsewhere because Vigilante and Night Stalkers are just such powerful teams. Okay, here we go. I have the Phoenix Force. I still have Super Skrull. I still have Old Man Logan. I still have Emma, who can stop speed stat stuff. I still have Shadow King, who goes really well with any team that can spam alt out the gate. I have Nightcrawler, Kang, and Weaver for like emergency situations. And that's what I'm going with. So I'm going very easy on the defensive side of things. And we'll see how stuff goes. I think that people are going to load up their defense. And then they might struggle. Though, with what I have on, as long as they keep one good offensive team, I could be in for a world of hurt. But I'll let you guys know. And Scotty, who has Professor X, I got him to turtle up pretty good. So we'll see how that affects things. That could be pretty interesting as well. But at the end of the day, here's my take on Ultimate 16, guys. If you don't have Professor X, get fucked, nerd. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like, share with friends, and subscribe to the channel. But for now, stay happy, stay healthy, have yourselves a wonderful day. And I'll see you guys next video. Bye for now, everybody. All right, guys, I meant to put this in the video, but I'll just put it at the end. We're doing our official first giveaway tomorrow during the stream. This is not going to be the Realm of Pixels ones. This one is going to be available to everybody. This is one that we did like 2 months ago for Marvel Strike Force, where we walked away with $280 towards the campaign, which is $140. 50%. That's what we're going to do for the giveaway. So tomorrow, we're going to do $140 worth of giveaways. I'm going to let you guys decide how you want to break that up. You want to do two $50 giveaways and a $40 giveaway? Do you want to do 7 $20 giveaways for the passes if someone wants to do that? Or just to go do whatever you want with it? Once again, just so everyone is on the same page, to be eligible to like win the giveaway, you need to have a PayPal, so I can just send you my PayPal. Or if you're Canadian, I could do an e-transfer. That's no problem there. I'll absorb the $1 loss. I don't care too much. Yeah, pretty excited. So make sure you tune in tomorrow to Twitch. And we'll do it. What's the best time to do it? I have the most people, the most traffic we ever have, which I guess is people's availability, is around noon Eastern. So 12 p.m. Eastern, I think, is when we'll do the giveaway. If there are countervailing opinions to that in the comment section right now or on Twitch chat, which is about to happen, I'm sure, then we'll find the best time and I will communicate when the giveaway is going to be done on the Discord. So make sure you join the Discord in the description of this video, and I'll make sure I ping everyone when the giveaway is happening, as it's happening, so that as many people who want to get involved can get involved. We'll play some Marvels. It'll be fun. End of video. Bye.